Hi everyone, this is the Climbing Flow podcast. Today is the 35th episode, and we will be interviewing Lary Arce. Lary is a strong climber. She's originally from Mexico and currently lives in Magaluf. We talk about her journey into climbing, and a lot of the focus is on fear and the different types of fear that are involved in climbing and how those can be managed, and also how sometimes the things that we experience in climbing is referred to us as personalities in real life. We talk a lot about ego, we talk about motivation, how motivation changes over time. So I'll let you listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Hi,
Hey,
Laddie.
hi Kevin, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Fine as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good day so far.
Sorry?
Did you have you had a good day so far?
Yeah, well, it's still 11:30, so I don't wake up too early. But yeah, I went for a walk and the day outside is perfect, very sunny. The temperature is increasing now.
Okay.
Yeah, and how about you? How is it there? Where are you?
Back in a place called Stroud, which is not too far from Bristol. Weather it's been raining for the last 3 days, but
Okay.
it's supposed to get warmer.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
pardon?
Nice. Nice
Yeah.
word that you have backwards.
Oh, what? Aboard.
I'm saying yes.
Yeah. So in lockdown, I got bored and I needed something to climb, so I built a board.
It's so good to have something like that in your house, isn't it?
It is, yeah, easy access. Have you got one?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much everywhere I live, we have a board. The first one, I got it like when I first started climbing, 6 months after I discovered climbing, I drilled some holes like on a concrete wall.
Okay.
So that we could say was my first one. But then here in Spain, we used to live in an apartment
Yeah.
first, and we built one in a bedroom. It was very small, but it was so good. I was the happiest girl in the world. And now here in my house, we have also one in the basement. Yeah, but
Ah,
it's
cool.
so good to have like
Nice.
somewhere. Yeah.
So whereabouts are you living now?
I am living in Margalef,
Cool.
Spain. Yes. I've
Very
been
cool.
living here now for 4 years,
Okay, cool.
and it's been great. I'm super happy. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, lots of climbing there, right?
Yeah. I think I am not gonna finish the climbing here in my whole life. It's just too
Okay.
much.
So you're gonna stay in Maglev for the rest of your life.
I don't know. You can never say
Okay.
never,
Yeah.
but at the moment we're very happy here.
Yeah.
When we first moved here, we bought a very old, destroyed house, and my partner and me, we renovated this house. So now that is finished, it have a lot of emotional value, and we are super happy
Okay.
just being here. And we don't see we at the moment I cannot picture myself not being here, but
Okay.
things change, and you never know.
Yeah. So that was your partner is Will, right?
Yes,
Yeah, he makes the climbing holds.
yes, hardwood house, yeah.
Yeah, I've got some of those on my wall there.
Really?
Yeah, see, so I guess the first time I met you was when I contacted you to post some of your pictures in my book.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly.
and then I randomly met you and Will over in Ravenstor
Yes, I
near
remember
Sheffield.
you spotted me on this boulder that I was trying, and you was very kind and you gave me a piece of the book, and yeah, I remember that day. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good day. Yeah. So what do you like about the UK limestone bouldering crags?
Um, I mean, I love bouldering, and to me, always when I go bouldering feels like a novelty because for some life reasons, life is always driving me to the roots and sport climbing. So
Okay.
whenever I had any opportunity to do some bouldering, I just feel that is very special. I love so much. It's like doing a different sport, but that I generally love so much because I just love climbing. And I really like the history and like the meaning that these boulders have in the UK, and how like so many people have tried them, how many variations are of every line. It's just very fun to me.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you've been to Parisella Cave as well in North Wales, right?
Yes, I was trying this boulder rock atrocity. I couldn't do it at the trip that we went. We were just for a day, but I it's just still like a problem. I wanna do a trip to the UK to go for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you had to choose between bouldering and sport climbing, which one do you prefer?
Well, I think sport climbing, that's the reason I live here.
Yeah.
I think it allows you to climb more.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bouldering, I find it's it's just very fun how concentrated the climbing is on a boulder, but obviously because the amount of effort and intensity that requires, you cannot do it for so long, right? You
Yeah,
cannot
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
try super hard for as much time that you could during sport climbing.
Yeah.
And also, sport climbing has its something just very psychological thing that I enjoy so much, that helps me personally to link with my personal growth and exposure that you experience on the roots, the hate, the fear, and all these things involved with that. Obviously, you also experience on bouldering, but I feel they, in my case, get more amplified with
Yeah,
sport
yeah, yeah.
climbing.
Okay. So I guess from watching a lot of athletes climb, people that are climbing kind of the high end, a lot of people probably don't associate people that climbing at the high end with feeling fear.
With feeling fit, you said?
Fear being scared.
Fear.
Yeah,
Fear.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what kind of fear do you experience and how do you manage that?
I will say that pretty much like a very similar emotion that even like a non-climber will experience fear, like fear of falling, fear of failure, fear, any sort of fear you can experience
Yeah,
while climbing, even that you are climbing professionally. This doesn't make a difference. When I remember when we were in the rock trip from Petzl, I was speaking with some sport climbers that, with some boulderers, I'm sorry, with some boulderers that were invited to this event to do a sport climbing. And obviously, even though that these are also professional climbers, they were talking about how they were experiencing fear just because when you stop for a long time practicing and doing sport climbing, it's just very natural that you are going to feel it. So to me, I have to overcome fear every time I come back to climbing after a period of stopping, right? An
yeah.
injury. For example, right now I have a pulley injury.
Oh
And
no, which
yeah,
pulley?
A2, this one.
Oh no, yes, it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yes, and it's just in the middle of the good season, just when the season was started, is when it happened. It
Yeah.
happens.
Okay.
But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that, for example, now that I am injured and I stopped rock climbing, means that when I come back, I am going to have to overcome fear again.
Yeah.
I've done it like 100 times of my life, but you have to just keep doing it.
So how do you manage? So are you talking about the fear of falling?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you manage that?
progressive exposure. But who I
Yeah.
am to tell you, you are the expert, right?
Well,
So
yeah, I understand that, but I guess is the idea behind like I guess the podcast and asking people is that although my cogs of thinking is a lot of people have lots of different ways of doing stuff, and I think what you've just said is graded or gradual exposure to falling is something that people don't do enough of. And I think sometimes people's personality, so somebody might be very driven, and what they're doing is they're pushing themselves
Mhm.
beyond what they are emotionally capable of, and then it becomes a negative experience.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I feel there is this cultural narrative in where we tend to believe that like being mental like that mental toughness is associated with being fearless.
Yeah,
And obviously when you break this narrative, it sometimes feel uncomfortable, especially because it's not well accepted yet in all areas of life, not just on climbing. So I
yeah,
think as a society, climbing society, we still have a lot of work to do in order to start seeing fear as a like actually as a positive emotion, right? Because I
yeah,
feel fear, it can be very healthy. It's normal. Like if you are climbing all your life and you never ever experience fear, that's more outside of the normal, I will say.
yeah,
So I think it's healthy to have a good amount, a good dose of fear, and we still yet have to work to accept it better. I think with the time and with the age, you learn to see that fear, it can be a very positive thing. It's related to a lot of skills, risk assessment, and sometimes being hesitant about a decision or not, it can be actually a very good and a smart thing, right?
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think it's in society, it's not. I mean, it's not really. I think we celebrate people who are fearless. We don't really encourage people to understand what being scared means and what we can do with that information.
Yeah, totally. Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
agree with that.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I think that then it becomes an issue potentially in climbing, maybe more so with men who might find it a lot harder to express to their other male friends that they are scared because I'm sure society's changing, but I think as as a man to say that you're scared doesn't feel very manly. And I think maybe women feel, and I'm only making an assumption, I'm not a woman, so maybe women feel slightly more at ease with
Yeah.
expressing their emotions. Um, eh,
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting how like acknowledging the fear, it's the hardest part of working in fear, because once you know and once you accepted it and you're talking it with your partner, with even if you are a man or even if you are a woman, I think it gets easier. But taking the decision to say, you know what, I'm afraid and I want to approach it this way,
yeah.
I think that's the most difficult part. So I'm very curious, how do you approach this on your fear of falling programs?
How do I approach?
The part of acknowledging, especially coming from a male.
So I find it easy because I acknowledge in myself that I'm scared a lot of the time, and that being scared gives me information about the moment that I'm in. Is it I'm scared of making a move because I'm above a bolt and there's the potential for a big fall? Am I scared because the consequence of what happens is real? Or Is it just a learned behavior? Is it just something, a process that I've repeated over and over again? And every
Mm-hmm.
time that I get into that position, the subconscious of my brain has already decided that something's scary. So the biggest tool that I would teach anyone is self-awareness, and it's understanding how you work as a person, and you thinking about the thoughts you have, you think about the emotions, and you think about the sensations you're feeling, and something when it comes to fear, there's a trigger, and it's finding out what that trigger is. And once you understand the trigger, then you've got something to work with. So, like you're saying, fear is something you can learn from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you mentioned the word triggers because I feel that it can have an impact in a lot of areas on your life that in the end it's like related to fear.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I forgot to tell you in the beginning. I'm
That's okay.
sorry for my English. I am doing my best, but this is the first time ever that I actually do a podcast in English. So I am sort of overcoming my fear with this actually.
Oh, amazing. You're doing really well. I think your English is probably like a million times better than my Spanish. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to the triggers, it's very interesting that you mentioned what would you say that is a fear trigger? Like,
A fear trigger. I think sometimes on the workshops that I run, the fear falling workshops that I run, the first trigger is is the anticipation, is the thinking about what is going to happen, and people make a prediction. So, and a lot of people will think when they come onto these workshops that Kev's going to ask me to take really big falls. Uh, and that's not the idea. The idea is that what we're looking for is we're looking for somebody's comfort zone, and we're
mm-hmm,
looking to edge towards somewhere where it's exciting but still manageable. So it's the anticipation of something happening. And if you're going to go on a climb and you think you might fall off of it because you're looking at the grade and you think, "Ooh, okay, I might fall off that," then you're already building up anxiety inside yourself, not knowing what the outcome's going to be. It's
yeah,
the
and then it's
same with
like,
full
yeah,
practice.
yeah, and then we naturally always jump into the worst conclusion, don't
Of
we?
course. Yeah, that's just human beings, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of kind of, yeah. So that's one trigger. And I guess other triggers are that people have had really bad experiences when it comes to full practice, where
Mm-hmm.
they've been pushed too much outside their comfort zone. And every time they've done full practice, they've pushed themselves beyond what they can emotionally manage. And then they've linked negative feelings with full practice. So you've got that as to add to the mix as well. And
Yeah,
then,
of course. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, there's so many triggers, and sometimes for people, it's the not being in control. When you have a belayer who they're holding the rope, so you're not in control, and sometimes people find that really hard. So people might, when they are going to fall off, they might shout so that they have some form of control to let the belayer know they're falling.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just some examples.
Would you say that this is a good tactic? Like when you feel that you're gonna fall, like to let know your belayer, like I might fall.
So the belayer needs to be paying attention 100% of the time when you're climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the one thing that on these workshops that I do talk about is, okay, so if you're climbing, um, what conditions will help you with your climbing? So, for example, do you tell the belayer what conditions do you like? Do you like complete silence? Do you like your belayer to shout words of encouragement? Do you like them to use words continuously so that you can hear them, so that you know they're paying attention?
This is so important. We
Ah,
can make the rules, and when you were saying earlier that a lot of people have as a trigger a negative experience that they
yeah,
have in the past.
yeah,
In my experience, a lot of these situations could have been avoided by giving them better tools before they got too exposed to have these falls or like
yeah,
these leading rock climbing with runouts or like slabs because unfortunately there are easier routes where you are meant to learn how to climb. They tend to be slabs and like with a big separation between quick draws. So I
yeah,
think this is very important, and that this is one of the reasons I love the labor that you are doing, which is educating and giving the people the tools. Because when we start climbing, it's not obvious. It's not obvious all these protocols that you
yeah,
can have and all these things that you can first have this conversation with your belayer,
yeah,
because you might be perceived as somebody that is too paranoid or somebody that is too scared.
yeah,
And for example, so far, right now, me with I've been climbing for a lot of years, and
yeah,
every time I'm gonna climb with a new person, that I don't have to trust this person because this person never believed me in the past, right?
yeah,
So I like to have this conversation that I like to make sure how are they gonna catch me, if they more or less understand if there is a risky situation on the route that I'm trying, a hard to clip bolt,
yeah,
or if I this thing that you just mentioned, if I like to climb in silence, or if like I like that they are screaming to me, encouraging me. And I think all of these are very important conversations to have, but also protocols that you can just ask.
yeah. Yeah, and it's not so when you have that conversation with your B layer, it's not that they can't do their job. It's just you're trying to give them the conditions that help you progress in your climbing or your fall practice. And sometimes, a lot of the times, we don't have that conversation. A lot of the times, we will treat the climber as we want to be treated, which might not be correct for them, might not be helpful for
Totally.
them.
We're all different, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we're all different. And if the B layer doesn't like to be asked, then that's the ego that comes in, and they feel that they're being judged because they think, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to be told by you.
This is a thing, and I think it's very true. It sounds very pretty and a topic to say, have this conversation with your belayer, create a system, um, prompt a protocol, but it's not that easy to approach the people. The way you ask the things that you want, it's important, and it
Yeah,
sometimes requires skill and thinking about how are you going to do it.
yeah.
I very recently read this book. Maybe you read it. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale
Okay.
Carnegie.
How to
It's a
win
great book.
friends.
Yes, the title is just funny. It sounds like, but it's a very good book. It teaches you how to approach people, and most importantly, that the way that you speak to the people you are around with, it have
Yeah,
a big impact on how they are and how they want to be.
yeah, yeah,
And your words can be very powerful to construct but also to destroy people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, this is
And
just incredible when it comes to supporting somebody that have fear of falling.
yeah, yeah. And I guess like being in, for example, like you being in Magalef, I guess you get lots of different nationalities, and different nationalities have then different ways of communicating. Although we're using words that we understand, we don't we communicate differently. So, for example, both my parents are Dutch, And living in England, the one thing that are having lived here for 31 years, I still get confused with the English because they don't say things as they are. So
For example.
they talk around about things. So as a Dutch person, I say what I think, and sometimes English people find that rude, but
Mm.
it's not me being rude. Um, but that's how it's received. And
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you
and I
mean.
think maybe you're Mexican, right?
Yes,
And I guess your partner is British or
British.
English. So
Imagine the difference and the contrast of culture is being wild.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I think it requires a lot of social sophistication to realize then how can you communicate what you want to directly say in their way.
yeah, 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 yeah. So they receive it well. Yeah.
Exactly,
Mm.
yes.
Yeah. So that's a minefield. Yeah. So I will look that book up. What was it? How to Win Friends. Maybe I need some more friends.
It's funny, the book doesn't actually teach you how to win friends, but it teaches you how to speak in a way that helps you construct people. I
Yeah.
think that is very powerful, knowing that you can say something to a new climber. You can tell, and I felt very related because in the book it explains something like this. When I started climbing, somebody, I don't remember who, but somebody told me that I was naturally good at this.
Yeah.
And just because this person told me that, I remember going to my house and thinking, wow, I think I'm good at this.
Yeah.
How different it would have been if people would tell me, I think you're not good at this. You're like, you move very clumsy and you're not coordinate. I would have
Yeah.
probably not have engaged that much in this sport.
Yeah.
So I try to be very intentional when I know that my words have a big impact on the
Yeah.
people's future.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I could learn. Yeah. I'm very direct. Yeah. I
Read
think.
the book.
But yeah, yeah, I'm very direct, and I think it does upset some people.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but my intention is always comes from a positive place.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless the person I don't like, which is there's not many of those people that I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find these days people that wants to be very honest with you, right? And I think that's something that we should value more.
Yeah, so I think something that could help with like a simple example, something that could really help when you're communicating with a belayer, instead of saying you can do this or you can do that, is you can make I statements. So you say, what I really like is I like this and I like that because this is I have anxiety or I have fear, and what really helps me are these things. So you'll
Yeah,
take a
and then you're not giving a direct order
yeah.
because humans, they don't like when you give them orders.
No, no, they don't know. No, no.
But this is also interesting because you say, so I am anxious. And this is something that I feel it's very relevant in the way you have um self-talk. I don't know if I'm saying it
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I think we need to be careful in the way we label ourselves.
We need to be what?
Very careful in the
Yeah,
way we label
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ourselves
yeah,
labelings.
yeah,
For example, if you decide to call you an anxious person or
yeah,
an stressed person,
yeah,
your subconscious is gonna start accepting that as your self image.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I am a stressed person, so then I might act as a stressed person.
yeah,
No, you're not. you're
Yeah,
feeling a stress in this moment of your life,
yeah,
in this climb, because you are in a rock 30 meters away from the floor, and that's not natural from a human. That
yeah,
doesn't mean that you are anxious.
yeah, yeah.
That means that you're normal, that you have common sense.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is, yeah, very true. And I think, like you say, the more you repeat a statement about yourself, the more you create this self-image in your head, and the more you start believing this thing. Simple example, super simple example is I'm sure we've all been on a route before where we have a moment of hesitation, and in that moment of hesitation, we think to ourselves that we're not going to make that move, and then our body only makes a half attempt to that move because we've already decided
You already decided that.
that we're
Yeah,
going to fall
that's
off.
very well described in The Inner Game of Tennis. Have you read this
Yeah, yeah,
book?
yeah, yeah. That's a good book. Yeah, yeah,
It explains that, like, it nails that concept so perfectly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's being able to switch off the brain. And if in that moment you need to generate a lot of energy to make that move, then
Hmm.
it's finding a way inside yourself where you can generate all that energy. And instead of thinking that move's too hard, I'm not going to make it,
Hmm.
you try and come up with something that means you distract yourself in that moment.
Which is very complicated. Easy to
Yeah, yeah.
say, but hard to achieve.
Of
Yeah.
course, but
Be-
it's practice, isn't it? It's like
yeah.
anything.
Yes, like anything. But it is crazy how we never expected that in climbing. I love it how climbing is such a complex sport.
Yeah,
It's not just the physical part,
yeah.
it's also like the psychological, but also um the
Te technique.
concentration
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
aspects.
yeah, yeah,
I find that all sorts of meditation
yeah,
are very uh, helpful for climbing,
yeah,
like, because it's a way of training that aspect, right?
yeah. But I think climbing is such an incredible sport that the mental part of climbing really shows up you as a personality, and it shows the personality, I guess, flaws that you may have that you might need to work on, but it also shows the good personality things that you have.
And the worst ones.
And the worst, yeah, of course, the worst ones, yeah. Yeah, but it's quite big, isn't it, to accept that you have flaws when you're climbing, and those are the flaws that you experience in climbing, but those are also the flaws that you have in daily life.
Exactly.
Yeah,
In daily life. This
yeah,
this is very strong, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think climbing as well, it's a physical sport, but I think the majority of climbing is very, very mental.
Yeah, yeah, I will agree with that. I used to think that when I started climbing, the mental aspect was my strength. With
Yeah,
the years, I realized that it wasn't, that it was actually my weakness.
yeah,
That's why I started learning and studying it and being intentional about it, because it's so complex. I still cannot understand all the aspects that are limiting me on my mind with my climbing. Uh, you tend to think that overcoming fear, and then you smash it and
yeah,
you are in the other side,
yeah.
and you're not.
No, I mean, I think it's a lifelong, um, it's a lifelong journey, and you never quite get to the end because, like, although you might have learned a lot on the way, you're still going to have bad days where you need to learn how to, I guess, where fear might creep in or uncertainty might creep in, or there's too many things that go on in life that then affect your climbing performance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
there is so many positive but also negative emotions that trying a route and afterward trying projecting a route might lead you to.
yeah,
And it takes you to question yourself a lot, why you do what what you do, which
Yeah.
are your motivations, which are your genuine motivations. And then
Yeah.
this is something that gets me a lot, and it's very interesting to me, like the genuine interests and motivations for people to climb.
Yeah.
I used to think that there is just one answer. Obviously, there is not one. And the most exciting thing about this is like it's so dynamic. Our motivations change so much according to
Yeah.
the moment of our life we are, right?
Yeah. So what is your motivation to climb?
Whoa, I have had money.
Okay.
So it is very funny. I didn't knew this. I think I acknowledged it after a lot of thinking. But I guess when I first started climbing, one of my biggest motivations were the social motivation.
Yeah.
I love connecting with people and
Yeah.
creating community. I love the people,
Yeah.
genuinely. So I think that's like one of the biggest aspects that hooked me into climbing.
Yeah.
Then I found myself projecting and being alone and not care about being with somebody. And then I started thinking, oh, well, then after all, probably I wasn't here for the people, right? But then I think it's, you're constantly navigating into this, like, what is moving me? And I think it's good to sit a moment and think, why am I doing it? And is this a reason that I like? That
Yeah.
it goes with me, that it goes with my identity? Because I think it's wise to recognize that sometimes you are doing it for the wrong reasons. I find if I can be very vulnerable with you, I find myself trying routes that I don't like just for trying to achieve a grade,
Yeah.
and then you find the stuck, and then slowly day by day you start losing motivation. So that uncomfortable moment when you sit and say, why am I here? Is this leading me to where I want to be, and is this reinforcing the person that I want to become?
Yeah.
It's sometimes an uncomfortable exercise to do, but I find it very necessary.
Yeah. I think reflecting on yourself and looking inside yourself is not always comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I
What
think
does motivate you?
what motivates me, I think for me, um, I think I've always, as a kid, so my first experience of climbing, I was about 12, and um, what stuck with me was the amount of fear that I felt in the moment and being encouraged to go higher and the achievement of actually overcoming. I say overcoming my fear. I didn't overcome it. I just went through this mental barrier and got to the top of this climb as a 12-year-old. And I think that stuck with me. And um, I've always been a really scared kid. I've always been scared of lots of things, but always wanted to do stuff. So I'd be scared of going on the ghost train. I'd be scared of going on a roller coaster. I'd be scared of jumping off the diving board in the swimming pool. Uh, but I worked my way into trying to do these things, and I think I had some experiences, I guess, within climbing and other things that I realized that fear held me back a lot of the times and I didn't want it to. And I think climbing for me started uh, with being able to control that fear. And obviously the physical aspect, but it was
Mhm.
mainly being able to control that fear. And that's where my initial motivation came from.
Is that your relationship with fear? Will you say it is that you control it, the fear?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's. I guess is it being able to control it? I guess it's to not allow fear to decide what I should and shouldn't be doing in life.
Okay.
And if I feel fear, it's a case of okay, well, I feel fear, I acknowledge it, but what can I do to get a step further?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I think it's a very good idea to have a good relationship with fear.
yeah, and yeah, and I think. I mean, I've had so many different experiences, and it's over time. As long as these experiences are positive, you build up a big bank, and then I guess uh, I think fear kicks in at a later stage. again, like you said, as long as you put into practice. So if I for example, if I don't take any falls for a long period of time
Mm-hmm.
through injury, for example, then the first thing I need to do is when I get back on a rope is to go and take some falls just to remind my brain that it's all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's brave. And as we were mentioning before, it should be just so normal, right? That when we go climbing and then we have, let's say, in an ideal situation, the capacity to acknowledge, like with my belayer, I feel fear. So the first goal is gonna be about like um, starting falling from very close to the quick draw, and
Yeah.
then I might take another one without letting you know, like to see how we
Yeah. Yeah.
both
Yeah.
react. A lot
Yeah.
of the times, even the belayer is scared. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of girlfriends being very afraid belaying their partners,
Yeah.
and I think it can like trigger more their own fear for climbing
Yeah.
when the fear already started on the belaying aspect. But I
Yeah.
think the act of being disruptive and taking action about that, having the habit of being a person that said like, I'm not gonna ignore it anymore. I'm gonna uh make it a part of the ritual of going climbing. Like I'm just gonna always do the job, take
Yeah.
the responsibility, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's all part of the growth and the personal learn that we have had in life in general.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
small actions, the small habits that we take, they have the capacity to change us so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. And I think fear doesn't have to be the end of all. It's just a stepping stone, isn't it? It's learning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Learning and helping us to be a little bit different, to uh I don't know how to say in English, but tomarse la molestia, like to take to bother into doing something
Yeah.
and take action
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
something different. I
Yeah.
think the other day I was talking with a friend about it's well known that relationships and investment have a compounding effect, but then well, while the conversation was advancing, we realized, well, everything in life have a big compounding effect. Your habits and your decisions have a huge impact of what's gonna happen with you to you in the future, and the cost by not starting today is very expensive.
Yeah. 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 So how is I guess how is your motivation been affected having had an A2 pulley injury?
Mm, I will not say that my motivation changed.
Okay.
Obviously, the first 3 days after an injury are the days that you're working on changing the plan. I am
Yeah.
a very like not super flexible person. When I have a plan, I like to follow the plan. So
Yeah.
obviously I had a calendar, the routes that I was gonna try, the trips that I was gonna make. So
Yeah.
suddenly from one day to another having to change all this structure up at the and plans, it's painful.
Okay.
So 2 3 days to accept the changes, and after that it's just making a plan. And as everything, we are resilient persons, humans, and we start working on the new plan. So the new plan was based on my rehab.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the long term plan, the long term plan was to work on physical long routes.
Yeah.
And in the moment where I did the injury, I didn't have the fitness, like my body could not take that big load of training.
Yeah.
So I decided to, instead of loading and started preparing my body for those big loads with climbing, I was gonna do it with physical training.
Okay.
So lots of core, lots of lower body. I've been training a lot and it's been very motivating to me because I love training in general. I love trying hard and whatever I can try hard.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So you like training and trying hard. Cool.
Yes, and then yeah, obviously, then you take the opportunity to work in other areas of your life. Climbing is not everything, so
Yeah.
it and the climbing takes a long time. So after the injury, after 1 or 2 weeks, I started seeing it actually as an opportunity to commit and to finish other projects in my
Okay.
life that I was just kept postponing. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been nice and interesting, and I'm very excited because today I am packing because we're going to Rodellar to see some friends.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I might just climb easy routes, but just feels exciting to
Yeah, and
climb.
then make sure you tape up your finger right.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, yeah. So have you ever had any other injuries?
Yes, a lot.
Have
I've
you?
had, yeah. Well, I mean, in all the years that I have climbing, it's been more or less like three really big injuries. It's not too much, but
Okay.
for example, the first big injury was a um uh ligamento colateral lateral
A lateral
LCL.
ligament?
Yes, LCL and meniscus. So
Oh,
that
bloody hell. Ooh.
requires surgery,
Oh
and
no.
it's yeah, it was so annoying because I had my first trip to Europe, and I came with my knee like unwell,
Yeah,
and that took me like 3 4 months to come back. And then I've had some pulley injuries. Those injuries take you out the
yeah.
game for 3 to 4 months, more or less. But in 2023, I had my biggest injury. I dislocated my elbow, and
Oh,
that
bloody hell.
took me out the game for 1 year.
How did you dislocate your elbow?
Falling.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God. So what, you bouldering?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that
I
makes
fell
sense.
off backwards, so like to not fall with my head, I put in my arm, and then very quickly, paramedicals, morphine. I was thinking Eminem. And then, yeah, the realization that you won't be able to climb in a while.
Fuck. So what did you do for a year?
What did I did for a year? That's a good question.
Because I think I need some advice at the moment.
Are
Yeah,
you injured?
yeah. I think I'm going for an MRI scan later on today, but I think I have a herniated disc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is like the cushiony bit in between two vertebrae, which is I think it's split because it's pushing on a nerve. And yeah, I'm struggling to sleep and I'm struggling to walk, and
It's painful.
I haven't climbed for nearly 2 weeks. And for me, that's unheard of. Yeah.
How did you occasionated it? Like it was
So
lifting something, or it's
I
been a
think
long.
what happened was I carried some boxes of heavy climbing holds about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And
Mm-hmm.
then I hurt my back a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And then I kept climbing and I thought it was just a muscle thing. So I kept massaging my back and stuff. And then about 2 weeks ago, I went to the Peak District and I bouldered and fell off like 4 times in 1 week. And then 2 days of roped route setting,
Mm-hmm.
of pulling holds and twisting in lots of different angles. And then I think that
Mm,
set it off.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
But
pain.
I don't have much experience on that injury.
No, no,
I
no, that's
yeah,
fine.
actually last year injured my lower back because so after the elbow dislocation I went too hard in weightlifting. So I started getting very passionate about deadlifting. And one day, just warming up with 50 kilos, I felt like a clack,
Yeah.
and I couldn't walk like for 5 days, like couldn't walk. It was so painful.
Yeah.
And I started freaking out. I started wondering, okay, the MRI, a nightmare, and all of these medical like advice, different doctors are gonna tell me different things. I don't
Yeah.
know what to do. But then I started doing some researching and I realized that the treatment for acute lower pain back it's always the same. So it doesn't matter what do you have, if you have an herniated disc or not. The first, like as long as you can feel your legs, the treatment is always first. The first line of treatment is waiting, resting, and start doing some sort of soft mobility. So I decided, in my case,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 2 weeks, and if there is no progress, then I am going to get an MRI and
Okay.
see what happens.
Okay.
So if that's your case, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like implementing very slowly mobility exercises. I'll send you on Instagram some good series that I
Ah,
found.
please do. Yeah, I've been going on social media and looking at stuff and thinking, man, like everyone's charging money, and I'm like, oh, I just want somebody to just, I think, tell me exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I think what I need to do is potentially what from what you're saying is rest and not do anything for maybe a week.
Just mobility, like, but maybe you do need a few days of just like resting, being in a position that it doesn't feel painful. Because at the moment, like for example, when I had it, just being sitting like you, it was super painful. The only
Yeah,
position
yeah,
where I would feel relief was putting my legs up, like
yeah,
in pillows or in the sofa or
yeah.
something like that. But unfortunately, that healed very fast. Like in 2 weeks,
Okay.
I started progressively loading that lives again with started with 5 kilos and
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
yeah till I came back again.
Okay.
But with the elbow injury it was very tough because I felt that in the past, with the knee or injuring a finger you can still do pull-ups, and in this case I was not able to do pull-ups. It was my right arm, so it was very frustrating to understand that I was not able to do my hair, to just these simply
Yeah,
basic quotidian labors.
yeah,
My partner was having to help me. Uh, so I started doing, what I could do, lots of cardio. Then
yeah,
I found on YouTube a yoga routine for people with a dislocated arm.
yeah,
And then I something very interesting that I was doing mainly for my motivation and because my mind asked for it for my mental health was I kept training my left arm. Like I kept doing max hangs, lifting very heavy. I was doing low coughs
yeah,
and all of this. And I most of the time what I was doing it for like 3 months, I was thinking this is pointless, like it feels so miserable. I don't know what I'm doing this, but somehow I was feeling good after doing it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Afterwards, like a few months later, somebody on Instagram sent me a medical paper, research in where they made this kind of experiment where people that had injured one limb but keep training the other limb
yeah.
because of the neurological load, then like the gains that they made on the limb that was healthy, it was trespassing faster to the injured limb, which
Ah,
was so interesting. I was like, yeah, I'm so happy that I did it.
that's cool. That's really
Hmm.
cool. Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do with my back though. I think I'll just I think so far like this morning I was just doing some hangs on the rings. I've got some rings up here just out of sight. Just hanging with a lock off position and I
And it
guess
doesn't hurt.
uh so no what it does is it elongates the spine. So it
Mm.
gives it space. So where it's pressing on the nerve, it just gives me some relief for the time being.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I'll see what the MRI scan says and then decide from that afterwards. I've had so many injuries and just in a moment of injury, and I know it sounds really sad, um, but I think like I ended up quite emotional. I was in tears last night because one, the pain, and two, I'm gonna have to completely change what I do because for me, exercise gives me uh, it makes me feel good in
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
myself, and exercise is a way of coping with stress in life
Yeah,
uh,
totally.
for me. And I'm gonna have to, I guess, find another way of doing that.
Exactly. And you will, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, yeah. But then, yeah, yeah. But then my job as well is climbing. So
Are you a route setter or for the
no, so I'm
clinics
a instructor.
instructor?
Yeah, so I might have
Okay.
to get somebody else to run some of my courses for the next few weeks.
Okay. Well, I guess once the acute phase finish of the pain, you
Yeah,
might be able to like walk around and be there. I
I
believe
hope
that
so.
for coaching you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
need to be doing demonstrations, right? Like you
yeah,
can't communicate.
yeah. But I have to be very careful because I think my personality type is to, as soon as pain goes
Mm,
away, go 100 miles an hour. But I think with your back, it's very different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Try other things, swimming, for example,
Yeah,
or yeah,
yeah,
or putting that energy into uh making and growing systems on your business and
yeah, 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 yeah,
implement
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
improvements
Do
and
more podcasts.
this and that. Do more podcasts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So
Mm,
you originally come from Mexico.
yes, that's
Okay.
right.
So what was it like growing up in Mexico?
Um, I grew up in a very small town, like
Okay.
very, very tiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel that my experience was like very different to most of the people. I guess I was from this very tiny town. I grew up with my grandfather in the ranch, like helping with the cows and in
Yeah.
the agriculture. I really like being in the nature, and I guess that's probably why I end up here in Margalef. A lot of people doesn't understand is like Margalef have 100 inhabitants. Like how can you make it? And to me it's a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it is interesting. The contrast, obviously, from now living in Europe is huge in so many ways, culturally, economically. The climbing is so different. Where I studied my career
Yeah.
in Guadalajara, there is a lot of crime and insecurity. So for example, going climbing in my own with a girlfriend, that was not something that you will do. And having the freedom here to just like, go climbing anywhere with anyone, it feels like a huge freedom and privilege.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy when you can see this contrast. Obviously, it's not the case in all the cracks in Mexico that there is insecurity, but in my experience, unfortunately, when I was studying my grade in Mexico, I had a lot of situations where the narco blocked the climbing track, and then they found narco fosas in the climbing town where we were going, so it was prohibited to go or way too dangerous. Had some very crazy experience that it could give us for a whole different podcast
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Okay. That must have been quite worrying at times. Yeah.
Well, that was my reality. So when that's your reality, you're not thinking because you cannot see the contrast of not
Yeah, of
being
course.
worried. So
Yeah.
you're happy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So is there
And I
anything
enjoyed it a lot.
yeah, yeah. So is there anything you like not living in Mexico, is there anything you miss about Mexico, like food or
Yeah, so many things.
yeah?
Obviously, the food, but I would say the people, the connection, the warmth of the people. Even though that I am in Catalonia, in Spain, people is very nice, very open. I mean, it's my language, so it's been very easy to me to establish beautiful connections.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I really miss about Mexico, the people.
Yeah. The people. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think something like you mentioned, I think what first attracted you to climbing was the social aspect. So something like I've always enjoyed climbing, and for me, I've always been motivated to climb. Never really analyzed why. And then lockdown happened, and the realization for me that actually what climbing gave me, apart from the physical side of it, was friends and people that
Mm.
I hung out with. And I think lockdown gave me the realization that, okay, I love climbing, but I love climbing with friends.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I feel that these days, and I don't know if it's for the ambience that I like directed myself in the last few years. I was more focused on performing well, doing your project, professionalize your climbing, where we tend to remove weight on that aspect of climbing.
Yeah,
But if the end, if you go to the basics, that's just the most beautiful and fulfilling part of climbing.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
people, your friends, and it is true. I analyzed this a few weeks ago with a friend that I just enjoy way more climbing if I went with somebody that I like.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
rather prefer having a climbing day with somebody that I love and that I can have a good, genuine, deep conversation and climb just, 7 days or easier routes than having a high point on my project with somebody that doesn't care or I cannot connect with,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this other
yeah.
person is only focused on their project, and it's just gonna be, it's different.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That human connection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. A
Mm-hmm.
deep and meaningful human connection.
Deep and meaningful human connection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
beautiful and it's a cycle because you do more of that, you get more motivated, and then consequently, you had better results.
yeah, yeah. So now that I guess you're climbing in Magalef, and I'm guessing there's quite a lot of high performing athletes that hang out at the crag. Um, what have you learned from speaking or watching them in climbing?
So many things. So it's very motivating to be with high performance because obviously they want to share with you their journey, but also give you advice. So that gave me deeper and more complete perception about climbing, how to approach my mindset, how to approach a project, how to manage my rest days, how to make more efficient my nutrition, how
Yeah,
to explode in a better way my training, how to warm up properly. All these like micro betas of
yeah,
climbing that when you are not focusing on high performance you don't even notice, but when there is somebody trying a route for years and every change, the temperature, the color of the clothes, I'm kidding, but
yeah,
everything have an impact on their performance, then you start learning and implementing these things on your own climbing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you observe how other people do and approach their projects, you copy
yeah,
to see if that works for you, and then you decide if you are gonna um conserve that or not.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
it's it's very interesting, positive and negative things as well,
Okay.
because
Like,
obviously to be a very high performance climber you need to have certain personality traits, like focusing a lot on yourself.
yeah.
I don't think that works too much for me.
Okay.
I genuinely care about what other people cares. So I think everyone should find their own balance and decide how much I want to push, how much I'm going to put myself before others, right?
Yeah,
But obviously, all decisions are right depending in which moment of your life you are and what do you want to achieve. But obviously, you're not gonna climb a 90 plus if you're doing what other people wanna do and going climbing where other people wants to go, right?
yeah, yeah. Unless they're all 9C plus. Yeah,
Unless it's the same route.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
still, like they might not feel the same certain days, and then you need to prioritize a lot your recovery
yeah,
and not get too stressed and all these like micro things that you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah,
do in order to perfect your climbing
yeah,
and your performance.
yeah. So what do you think that you have taught some of the other athletes that you meet?
That I have
Yeah,
taught them.
yeah. What
Oh,
do you
be
think that
best
they
to
might have learned from
ask
you?
them.
Yeah. I
What
guess
I have.
what are your strengths? What's your superpower in climbing?
This is interesting. Not something that I think too much. Probably trying to balance thing, being a more balanced person,
Okay.
in the sense of like remembering often all these other things that you can do in life, your work, your social relationships. Because I think in the end, consequently, everything is important, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In order to make you a better human being.
Yeah. 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 But I guess in climbing, a lot of people are focused on I guess their performance and not them as a human being.
It depends of the phase of their personal growth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or maybe a moment where you have just a few years climbing where everything circle around your performance, and that's normal, natural part of that process. But there is afterwards a moment where that's not super relevant anymore, probably because you already mastered that performance
Yeah. Yeah.
part.
Yeah. 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 So what do you feel is what do you feel that you still have to work on when it comes to the mental aspect in climbing? What are you currently working on?
A lot of things I could not name it in like, oh,
Okay.
I need to improve this. There's a lot of areas where I have to improve, but some of them that I could mention will say, mm, my confidence.
Yeah.
I tend to be more on the side like, I cannot do this. This is too hard for me. I don't have the time, or this route doesn't suit me. Um, I'll say being more like flexible with changing the outcome. For example, I think a lot of times as a climber, you decide, I want to achieve this. And I'm a determined um, person that is going to achieve it because that's how I am. And uh, I'm gonna work very hard on this. So you choose a route, you start projecting, you do progress on this route, you are consistent on that, you train for that. And then in the middle of the path, you realize that it's not a route that you actually enjoy that much.
Yeah.
So what do you do? There's like a paradoxical decision here where am I gonna follow who I am and I'm just gonna finish it because this is how I am and who I already wrote down that I am and that my goals are orienting me to? Or am I gonna follow my intuition and actually reconsider and change the plans to do something that I generally enjoy more. And this is a very interesting conversation that I have had with so many climbers that are projecting hard
Yeah.
routes.
Yeah.
Especially it gets harder when you have invested a long time on a project. But there is this is not a quote of mine, it's Scott Galloway, but he says that it's very important to realize when you do a mistake to identify quickly your mistake
Yeah.
and fix it. So I think this is, and obviously as invested that you are working on this mistake is gonna be harder to rectify and change it and
Yeah.
quit and stop doing something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this is also very important in climbing, that I think I have a lot of opportunity areas to grow here,
Yeah.
to be better at rectifying and watching from an outsider and more overall perspective. Is this what I want to do? Is this gonna give me what I want? And I want to keep investing my time of this, because I think it's very easy, and especially for me, like I just stop trying and I have kind of like a tunnel vision, and I want to finish what I started to prove that I finish what I start and that I am like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I
so
guess
yeah,
it,
I think this is something that I want to be better at, working on routes, trying it, and it doesn't matter that I've been trying it for 1 month. Be able to change and flexible without dying on the attempt.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I guess beneath all of that, I guess is it's to try and analyze your motivation for doing something, right? So I guess it's first and foremost, it's trying to find out your motivation. What is your motivation for trying this route? Are you just having a go and trying it, or are you trying it because you want to challenge yourself, or are you trying it because you need to prove something to someone? Uh, once you understand that the motivation is for yourself, if then you're still not motivated by the climb for whatever reason, then I guess it's a big thing, isn't it, to move on to something else, because we then might feel in the eyes of somebody else that we're a failure because we
Exactly.
haven't
And sometimes
completed.
that motivation, it could just be a simple idealization of the route, because it's a route that you always say that you wanted to do. You watch this YouTube video and like you wrote down in your goals that you were gonna do this route,
Yeah,
and then you try the route, and after a few days of working, you realize, like, you know what? It actually have an undercling that it just doesn't feel right to me. I hate this movement. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
hate when after the rest I have to go to that crux. It's like I'm not enjoying it. I feel, in my experience, a route that I know that I have to keep projecting is that it excites me, like certain part of the route, like makes me so excited to like pass to the first croc, so that I have the opportunity to go and move again and experience again that section of the route that I really love.
yeah, 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 yeah. I guess, and then maybe by I guess if you don't enjoy it and you then want to move away from it, maybe the ego comes into play and prevents you from maybe acknowledging that the route isn't that you're not enjoying it because of the perception of other people, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Hard,
true.
isn't it?
Our egos are
Ah,
interesting,
massively.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I think, yeah, it's a work in progress, isn't it? Ego. We all have an ego, and it all kind of comes into play at different times in life and in climbing. And it's finding that what you're doing is right for you, and not you're not doing it for the acceptance of somebody else.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't even know why are you doing it.
Yeah,
Like, we shape our egos when we are maturing as teenagers, right? Like those first years with the exposure to experiences, people, and context and culture that we have, this shaped our egos.
yeah,
And then to have to reframe all of this, it's very complicated. So it might be just easier to keep trying the route, even though you don't enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll let you go. Thanks for your time. I know that you're going to go off to somewhere to go and see friends today. Um, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It was a really nice conversation. I enjoyed it. I love so much talking about these topics with people. And even though that I was intimidated for the idea of doing a podcast on English, I felt like how cool is it that in a podcast you can like jump straight into a deeper conversation without having to warm up for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah,
was very
yeah,
nice. Thank you.
yeah. Thanks for your time. I'll let you go. Say hi to Will, and I'll hopefully our paths cross at some point in the future.
Yeah, hopefully. Take care, Kevin,
Cool.
and good luck with your back.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast with Larry. She's a very kind, nice person, very deep thinker. Really loved having a conversation with her. Hope you enjoyed it too. If you have any suggestions on topics you'd like us to cover or people you'd like us to interview, please feel free to send us an email or contact us on Instagram. See you next time.